gone.
All right. Can you hear them clapping again?
No, I told you I live in Melkbos.
On my side. Can you hear them on my side?
I don't live with you. Did you? Okay. What? We are live.
Hello. I'm Becca.
And I'm Kate Hudson.
You wish, girl. And we are Hatstand Productions. You are very slow on that. You need to get on it. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for our next installment of So When Are You Going to Get a Real Job? Today's theme is obviously pink. And we hope you've got your pink outfits on to join the party. Kim's face is also joining the party with her very pink, lovely hue, glow. We've got a few notices before we get going. We are obviously relying on Wi-Fi and or data. So if we get disconnected, please bear with us while we sort that out. This show will probably contain some naughty words and some weird subject matter, so please be aware of that. We've already got a warning from our guest's mother to not swear, so this is just just upfront. We have some very exciting new projects coming up in the pipeline, so please keep an eye out on our Instagram page for that, and then please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's pretty much that. Take it away, Erin.
All right. Silence. Our guest tonight may very well be Our guest tonight may very well be the poster child for a triple threat. And to honor our guest, we have created a cocktail in her image and spirit.
Ooh.
The triple threat margarita. Firstly, you'll need a shot of an absolutely stunning singing voice and unbelievable vocal range. A voice that can do anything from rock to pop to jazz to Sondheim. You'll need a voice that can do it all. Then add a shot of danceability. If it doesn't say modern, jazz, contemporary ballet, tap, street, musical theatre, Fosse, Horton, Greek, and aerial silk, then it's going back on the shelf. You'll also need a shot of acting talent. Can it play a shy nun, a jaded toilet warden, an emotionally scarred teenager, a glitzy showgirl, a horny granny, a magical pony? Yes, it can. Pop it in the mixer. Now we'll add a dash of total boss, award-winning choreographer, and dance captain. Shake that shit real good. The glass you'll use to serve this magnificent beast of a cocktail should be tall and beautiful, and the glass should be a perfect blend of Cypriot and Portuguese heritage. If it was third runner-up in a beauty pageant and models on the beach, then you've got a winner, baby. Make sure you add a ring of strong work ethic and theatre grit to the rim of your glass, and top it all off with a slice of humour and fun. Always to be served stone cold slaying, we present to you the triple threat margarita in honor of our guest, Nicolette Fernandes.
Ooh.
Hi.
Nicolette, so when are you going to get a real job?
Mom, I told you, I'm trying.
Yeah, well,
Trying.
Try harder, girl. Try harder. Kimby, that was a beautiful intro. Thank you. That made me very thirsty, actually.
It did. It's also quite a sad story to tell because there's no alcoholies. There's no alcohol left.
That is true. But just a couple more days and we will get through this.
You can hang on for like 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, we've held on for this long. Right, so getting straight into this, we are obviously going to start with the biggest question. So you've obviously recently graduated and you've booked your first big show and it was all very exciting, and now that has come to a halt. What are we feeling? What's going on in our brains?
So I think when we got notified, I think it happened so fast. I don't know if anybody else felt this way, whoever was in shows or kind of working in the industry, but it happened so quickly. Like I felt like 1 minute everyone was just kind of, it's all good, hand sanitizer, like we'll be fine, no hugs. And then the next minute we're being told that like the show is ending at this time and we can't carry on and things like that. So you kind of have to make a choice to kind of decide, am I going to like sit in my sadness and my kind of gloom and doom, or am I just going to make do with the moment and kind of soak in everything as I go? So I think we had like the last 2 shows, which were actually full because people came and watched like last minute. And they were probably 2 of the best shows we did. And I remember every moment, and I'm just so glad that I took that time to kind of take in everything, because now when I sit in my room and I sit in my house and I hear the music, I just get so like, all those memories come back. So yeah, it was sad, and obviously financially it wasn't convenient at all, but I was very happy with the way I think I handled it, and as well as the rest of the cast and the company handled it. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can
that
really
sounds super positive. It's such a refreshing way to look at it, that you kind of just want to soak in every moment instead of look at the harsh reality of what is about to happen in your life.
Yeah.
It's very, very mature, actually.
I think it's also because I'm a very sentimental person, so I want to do the whole like, please sign my little piece, please sign it, please. Like, even though like we're all like, we'll see each other again, you know, but I'm like, please, I'm like crying. So I get very like, sentimental at these things. So for me, it was quite like I had to just kind of snap out of it, because there's no time. Like, you've just got to do everything as it comes and deal with it and put on a good show, because those people paid for their damn tickets. So you better put on a good show. So it was just amazing. Yeah.
Definitely.
Sure.
Okay, Nicolette, where did theatre start for you? Like, when did you first experience the performing arts?
So I've been dancing since I was about 3, and I was terrible. I was awful. No, I danced with a company for a dance studio for about 8 years, which really taught me a lot about performance, and kind of we did a lot of competitions and shows, so it really like ignited my fire to like perform. And then when I was about 13, 12, there was a audition for a show called A Slice of Saturday Night. No one's heard of it ever.
Yes.
And there was an audition, and my mom was like, you must go so you know what failure feels like. Used to it. That's what she said. So I was like, yeah, like I've got to put myself through this. Like I've got to, you know, just, you know, because I want to, you know, anyway. So I went to the audition. They made me sing a Beatles song. I can't even remember. I think it was like, I want to hold your hand. I don't know. It was a bop. And I got in, and I ended up playing a 17-year-old girl who wanted to have her first time, or there was a lot. So they had to ask my parents for permission, since I was so young. I didn't understand a lot of what was going on, and I was working with a lot of like older people. But that was the first time I sang on stage. It was the first role, and then from there I just continued. I just got hooked. Honestly, just continued to just want to be on the stage and do whatever I could just to be on the stage. So yeah, the bug bit.
Wow, that's so cool. It's also very interesting. I want to know, did you turn around and tell your mom that she can suck it?
I think she was so surprised, because up until then, I think I had done like choir. You know, we all did choir, less choir than like, you know, and I did a lot of competitive dancing, but she had never really seen like what was musical theatre. We didn't know what it was because it wasn't a massive thing. So when I got in, I think she was like, oh, that's great. Like, you get to be on stage. And then from there, it kind of skyrocketed to this thing of like, do I actually want to not do like law or like journalism or whatever the hell I was wanting to do before.
Okay.
And kind of go on this journey. And my parents were super supportive of that, and they were the first people to be like, listen, if you're going to do this, we're going to do it properly.
Wow.
You know. And then that's when I started doing part-time and, you know, continued on in my journey, which was like a really good thing. And I'm very grateful for my parents.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's nothing better than having supportive parents, especially in this industry where the likelihood of you relying on your parents for the rest of your life is pretty high, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question. It's actually something Kim and I spoke about the other day, and I laughed remembering it. But I know for me personally, and for my peers who graduated at the same time or after me or whatever the case may be, they kind of went through this process after they graduated where they were like super keen, super excited, like, yes, I'm finally in the industry. And then they go through this cycle where every couple of months they like, what the F have I done? Why have I studied this? Why have I put myself through this? Because it's such an interesting phase in your life. The people, your friends that have not studied performing arts or theatre, they graduate, they maybe find their first apartment, they've got their first big job, like their life is getting started, and you're kind of just sitting at home waiting for the next thing. I want to know, have you had this thought process where you're kind of like, geez, I have made a huge mistake?
Yeah, so I think look, I haven't been out of like in the industry for long, obviously, because I only graduated like basically yesterday. But my biggest thing was, so because I graduated early, I managed to graduate early just because of, you know, I was already in part-time, so I'd done a lot of my training with the Waterfront Theatre College from the age of like 14. So I came in with a lot of the training that they saw. So by the third year, I was actually ready to complete my qualifications and graduate. So when I started telling my like non-performer friends that I was graduating, a lot of them were actually like, how? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't think I've had that yet. I think the COVID thing helps, because I then do start to like, you know, worry because #pandemic.
Yeah.
So I guess we can say that, but I've always been quite a believer in, you know, I've always been inspired by like, even you, Kim, like there's so many people who take what they have and they make something out of it. Like theatre makers and choreographers and performers, like there's always something. Like, yes, you know, financially it's always going to be something like touch and go, but so many people take absolutely nothing and make it into a show or a like a video or something before this pandemic was even a thing. So I think that kind of kept me going, because I was always like, there's always going to be something or someone I can collaborate with that I can hopefully at least keep busy. If not make money, then get my name, get something out there. I guess I'm yet to feel it, but I do understand that feeling so like it's reasonable, and it's something we all go through, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's a tough reality, actually, I think, what I'm going to say, but there's only nothing, like what you're saying, there's only nothing if you decide to do nothing. You have to decide not choreograph or not do TikTok video, something similar. You have to take control of that, and there's no work because you aren't getting work and you're not making work.
100%. And that's what they teach you at college. Like they literally go like, a lot of the time there's going to be stages where you're going to need to make your own work. And there's so many people who have made their own work, and like one woman shows and comedians and, you know, like people who've kind of taken something that they know is unique about themselves and something they're good at and make something out of it. I've got a person who I follow on Instagram who's a dancer, but he's a fashion designer. And then there's somebody who's a choreographer, but she also does it's so incredible how people can just kind of blossom before your eyes. So I think that's the positive and the great thing that comes out of it, you know.
Totally. And I mean, yes, even though you go through moments where you're like, what have I done? Why have I studied what I studied, etc. I feel like after you come out of college and you graduate, you really start to find who you are as a person, and maybe performing is not like the main thing of your life anymore. Maybe you find that teaching is going to make you happy, or you find something else random that you never thought would inspire you as much as it does. So yeah, I think it is important to have those like low moments, because it definitely pushes you out of your comfort zone, even in the way that you think. So,
but I'm also sure, like, I don't know about you, but I had a lot of those low moments in college. Like, you get to like second year and you're like, I can't do anything. Like, literally, you go to every class, you're like, I can't do drama. I don't have emotional like connection or authenticity. I can't point my feet. My singing's like cack. Like, you start to go like, why did anybody think that I could do this?
Yeah.
And you kind of push through it, and that kind of deciphers the people who actually want to push through it and do this, and then the people who kind of go, maybe this isn't for me. And that's completely valid too. Yeah, and then by the time you graduate, you start to go like, who am I? Who do I want to be? Do I have to necessarily fit into one type of box? No. And that's the great thing about it.
Exactly. Amazing. Cool. So I want to ask, in lockdown, what kind of person are you? What kind of creative are you? Have you found that you've gone the one way of kind of just spending the day in bed and watching Netflix, or have you found that you've wanted to get up, be productive, work out, you know, write something new, choreograph, sing, whatever? What are you?
So I think I watched a webinar the other day that the National Theatre Arts Festival posted, and it had a lot of people on it, including Rob van Vieren, who said something. He spoke something about mourning, like a mourning period that especially artists kind of went through as this pandemic hit, because you kind of sit there and you go, I don't have a job. The thing that I do best is no longer something we can do. You know, I don't know how to post videos and like, where do I go? So you have this period of time that you get schlumpy. And for every person it's different. I think for me, like the first 3 weeks to a month, I was literally like, what do I do? Like, I was pretending I was fine, because that's what you do. You go like, here's the book I'm reading. Here's the banana bread that I baked and lasted a whole 5 seconds. Like, you know, you try to put on a brave face, but that time you just like, I just sat and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And then slowly but surely I kind of thought, okay, cool. There is life after this pandemic.
Yeah.
I would like to continue doing what I'm doing. And I'm slowly but surely being able to learn how to do it on this platform. But even so, they will, and I'm very confident in this, there will be a time where we will go back to theatre.
Yeah.
They will, eventually. So I thought to myself, what's the type of person I want to be when I come out of this? And that kind of pushed me to start going, great, morning routine, what time am I waking up, you know, working out. And I'm also not the type of person who works out till they die. Like, girl, yoga. Like, I love a good Pilates, like a good like Pilates, you know. I don't need to kill myself to like work out, but you start to work internally and think, what do I need? And then from there, once you've harnessed your own like self-care, that's when you can be creative, and then that's when the juices start flowing again. So then you start going, ooh, cool, what can I do? Start collaborating, find people to work with, and then it goes from there. So I think I think getting that stability mentally, emotionally, physically first is the foundation of being able to be creative. You can't just be like, I need a choreograph and like sort of force yourself to do something, because what comes out in the end is going to be something not really authentic or real, you know? Yeah.
It's also so important for artists to be mentally okay and to make sure that your mind is okay, your body is okay, because this is our product essentially, you know. And if you're not looking after it, you can't house any sort of creativity or any work to begin with. So yeah, it's very interesting. I am finding that a lot of, like you say, a lot of creatives have gone through this mourning process, and now we're starting to see a lot of work popping up, which is so great. And it goes back to what Kim was saying in our very first discussion. We are all on an even playing field right now. You know, nobody knows what they're doing, so everything is going to be accepted. And I think that's what artists need to hear right now, that, you know what, this is a platform for you to make mistakes because it's never been done before. Like, bring out your work, bring out everything that you can, and let's just like enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, 100%. Because again, like, traditionally when you walk into an audition room or something like that, you're constantly sussing out everybody's level. So you start to go, okay, I know that person's a good tapper, I know that person's a great singer, I know that. So you all of a sudden place yourself in this ranking.
Yeah.
Whereas now, no one knows what they're doing. Like, no one knows. Professionals who are like still working and do that, like their Wi-Fi doesn't work and this video doesn't work. Yeah. Like, it's honestly like, no, like everyone's just in the dark kind of doing this, which is great, because when you're in the dark and you kind of grab onto somebody, you can kind of, okay, I don't know, that was going somewhere.
I mean, I saw where you were going, but you lost me. But yes,
you get my drift. I like, you know, kind of lost along the way. But yeah, you kind of, everyone's, like you say, everyone's on the same playing field, so the pressure comes off. So you're like, I can do whatever, and I'm not going to get compared to so and so because we're on the same playing field. So I completely agree, 100%.
Definitely. Right. And also, I guess with Insta stories, you know, you can post something and then 24 hours later, it's gone. So if you post something really terrible, you can be like, oh well. You can take it down. You can post something on Instagram and you think this is the best, most profound thing I've ever done. And then someone goes, and it gets like 5 likes. And you're like, okay, well, take that off. Clearly that's allowed. You know, so. But that's
great. It's like we're now allowed to have that time, because before then, someone would have seen that and you think, and you all of a sudden like, what's going to happen now? Now it's kind of a case of like, I have the time to learn and grow, which I mean, yeah.
So it's also so interesting that, I mean, it's also something Kim and I have been speaking about. Our Instagram pages have never been about our work before. Like, it's always just been about our personal lives, what we're eating, what we're reading, what we're doing with our friends. And it just seemed, well, to me anyway, it just seemed so odd for me to be posting a video of myself singing, because why would I do that? Do you know what I mean? But now it just feels like it's okay to do that, and it will be accepted even if it's crap. So yeah, it's a cool place to be. I think it's a very open.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that's good.
I think people are getting more understanding, you know, like you were saying before about how you walk into an audition room and there's like this level of, you know, judgment and, you know, placing people. And before, yes, if you walked into an audition room and you sung a song that was really terrible and you made a bad choice and bad acting and all of the, you know, terrible things that could happen, you know, the complications are that those people who watch that audition are going to be like, yes, remember that she's terrible, awful, and a loser. Whereas now, it's in your brain. And I don't think that's true. I think that we used to think that was true. Yes. But, you know, the person is going to remember you forever, that you were the person who sang.
And it's actually not the case. It's actually not the case whatsoever.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you've made banana bread in lockdown. What has been your best comfort meal during this time?
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I'm a foodie. I
Yeah.
like food. Okay. Especially when So
Okay.
my mom makes the best banana bread in the world. I don't care what anyone says. My mother makes the best banana bread, and you take it and you toast it and you put butter on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Just that. Just that.
Between that and Bovril, because I just discovered Bovril like a whole month ago.
Explain
Like,
yourself.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm confused.
So, why I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know. So I was always a Marmite girl. So I was like, what is this? What is this? It looks like Marmite, but you've deceived me. I don't know what this is. So I think I was sick. I got ill, like with a stomach bug or something, and my mom was like, here, have this. And I ate it, and I was literally like, what is this? Like, it's Bovril. And I'm like,
yeah, it's
and since then I haven't gone a day without it, possibly. I'm gonna say that. I don't know if it's accurate. I really hope it's not. But
don't tell it for yourself, please. You'll do yourself a disservice.
no, I am worried about that. I'm worried I wake up one day and just go like,
yeah,
you're
gonna go completely off it.
Yeah. I'm to be honest, I do have I put it on the toast, and my family's always like, do you want some toast with that Bovril? And I'm like,
wow, okay, so your ratio is thick, I'm imagining.
She is thick with 2 C's.
Okay, yeah, I'm not on that train. Yes.
You're buttering on first, because thick butter with Bovril is
yes. I'm on that train.
No,
Bovril.
You have to even if you mix it together first before you put it on.
Yeah.
No, I'm there for that. I'm there, but the butter needs to be there, and then the Bovril
melted.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You guys on my level.
Okay. I'm so glad we agreed.
I'm glad. I'm very happy we're all on the same page. We're gonna have fights.
If we did not agree, we would have ended the chat right then and there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I have been trying to obviously watch, but I definitely banana bread and Bovril. I mean, those are just the one. For now, I might take a young break now that you've suggested it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it would be best to take some advice from us elders.
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm backtracking a little bit. I was thinking of it today. So it's like a double-sided question, but we'll do the first one first. Was when you graduated college,
mm-hmm.
and you now were in a show and you were working, what is something that you wish you had learned in college? What is something that you think students need to know about working in a show that they don't necessarily learn?
So I would actually say that there wasn't much that I felt like I needed to learn more of on like a student level, like in terms of preparation of like what Waterfront Theatre College, and I worked with Dwayne and Anton with MTW for so many years. Like with all of them, they prepared me so much that when I walked in, I kind of was like, I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing. I think for me, I'm gonna do it from like a personal experience, because I was dance captain. One of the things that I don't think anyone can teach you this though, but it's just a case of kind of having you kind of walk in and everyone's been in the business for so many years. So you kind of go, I'm not worthy. Like that's immediately what I do. At least I go like this. But then I was given this role of dance captain and I had to take warm up, and I was like freaking out. I was like, what do I do? Like, I don't know anything. Meanwhile, I just studied like warm up. I did my associate, like I knew how to do a warm up, but immediately you start going like this. So I guess you can't really be taught that, but I think it's about students investing more time in making sure that you know that you've done this, girl. Like you're good. Like you're fine. Like go in there, own it, do it with purpose. And if you F up, you F up, and it's okay. Like if you do something that somebody doesn't like in a warm up, like it's not the end of the world. It's really not. Exactly. And it kind of applies to a lot of things in the professional workplace, in terms of, you know, how you conduct yourself in a dress in a behind the scenes versus on stage. How do you deal when something bad happens? So it's kind of like that, kind of standing your ground and knowing who you are. And I think I developed that through the process, but I wish I had gone in there with a little bit more kind of going, yes. But then again, I was so scared of like, they're going to think I'm cocky or something. Meanwhile, they're not even watching you. They're doing their own thing. Like no one's watching. No one's going like, ooh, like everyone's doing their job, you know? So yeah, that's definitely one thing, I would guess.
Yeah, that was going to be my second question, like how that must have felt being did you know that you were going to be dance captain, or was that something like news to you when you found out?
No, so I walked in, and I think about 2 weeks later, I was told by our choreographer and assistant choreographer, so it was Dwayne Alexander and Mila and Dibiaji, and they sat me down and said, listen, we think you should be dance captain, purely because also the show is a very tap dominant show, and tap dancing is a very niche dance style. So like a lot of people needed help and assistance. And what was great is that I just come from a college where I just did my advanced tap exam. So I think it was helpful to have someone like me as a dance captain, because I could help and assist and also help with technique wise, which ended up working out great. So I only found out about 2 weeks in. I actually thought I was in trouble when they called me. I was like, started like think like, did I do something wrong? But it was a lot to take on, but it was also fantastic. It was amazing and such a privilege to be able to do, and I felt so lucky and grateful to be able to take that on. And for that as a first experience, I mean, I can't ask for anything better at all. So I felt really good about it, and looking back on it, it's a shame, bless.
Amazing. What a like really lovely confidence booster, like for you to know that you went in and you did that job on your very first show. It's like it just makes you want to like go, like
because so many times in life, if it's not by other people or by like your experiences, you're constantly being told that you're not enough, or even if it's from like school, or if it's from like a relationship or friends or whatever the case may be in your life, you often get told like you're not doing enough. And then finally when you get kind of that saying, hey, listen, you're doing enough, you're doing more than enough, keep at it. That doesn't mean you can sit. That's the whole thing. Doesn't mean you can just sit and blow now, because that's often what also happens. But it is nice to have that feeling, just to go like, cool, I'm doing it. I'm doing it well, and I'm enjoying it. So so that's a good thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to backtrack a little bit to the financial situation. So obviously we spoke about it briefly before we were online, but you're back at home now living with your folk. Is there a plan in your mind? I know I had to think about this when I had just graduated. Do you have some sort of goal in mind where you can sit your parents down and say, okay, by this time in my life, I want you, or I need you, maybe need is a better word, to stop supporting me, because maybe it's the kind of push or boost that I need to kind of step out of my comfort zone once again and make things happen instead of just allow it to be given to me. Do you have any plan like that?
I think I did have a plan before COVID. I was very much like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, because there were plans. And then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go and do this. And then there would have been a situation, hopefully with my parents, where I could go, listen, I can now figure out something, you know. Now with the whole COVID situation, it's hard. It's not necessarily that the plan changes, but more so when it happens.
The timing,
because everything's getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and kind of like we don't know, especially in South Africa. See, the rest of the world, like where my family is in Cyprus, they're open, they're living life, there's no restrictions, they don't even have to wear masks anymore. So it's hard to, and like Spain is opening, so it's hard to kind of see that and then see where we are and kind of go, should I stay here, or should I, you know what I mean? If I can, should I go, or should I? So it's kind of now that situation where it's like, do we change the plan? When will it happen? So I think there is a plan in my little corp of mine. But yeah, in terms of when it will happen, it will. It's changing. You know, my dad called me a tenant. It's fine. I'm a tenant that doesn't pay rent, essentially.
Do you think that is something that that performers should bear in mind? I mean, obviously we know that we were very lucky to have studied where we studied, because it is quite an expensive course, performing arts in general. I mean, there are lots of costs, and I almost feel like kids who have studied performing arts will always have their parents as a backup. Do you think that it's important to, I don't know, to tell them or inform them that they do need to set a cutoff? Because I almost feel like it's not really fair to keep your parents paying for your life if you're kind of in between jobs. It's that, then it comes back to the thing where you have to start thinking, what else can I do? I can teach, I can make money by choreographing, I can, like, I guess it also comes back to the thing of, when do you give up on your performing dream? Like, when do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I haven't booked anything in a really long time, when is it okay for me to try something else?
I think you know, I think it's a two-way street when it comes to figuring out where the line is. I think we're in our 20s. You get to a point where you kind of have to go, listen, as an adult, like in the traditional sense of the word, you have to start going, okay, but what am I contributing? You know, where's my contribution in the entire thing? And then as parents, my parents have always been supportive. I mean, I'm the first person to go and study outside of like after high school. My brother is studying at Stellenbosch, so we were the first children in our entire family to actually go to like a tertiary education properly. You know, so it's a big deal for my parents. So they're always willing to kind of help and support wherever needed. But there is, I mean, my parents are very much like, girl, no, here's how it's going to go. Yeah, I found this. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're very my parents are very good at like finding places and like going like, here, this is good, this suits us, it suits you, we're good, you know. So I'm very lucky to have that. But it's a two-way street. You have to start going like, can I even support myself? And then when it comes to like the dream of performing, I don't think it's about giving up on the dream necessarily, but it's about going, I need to do this in order to do my dream. So I love teaching. I taught, for 2-3 years. I love teaching. I would go to teaching to do money 100%. But that's not where I see myself. So I would love to use what I make from that essentially to help me do more auditions or help me stay in Cape Town or whatever the case may be. So I think it's a very tricky thing. There's no black and white. Like everybody's so different, and some people have no support. Some people have oodles of support. Like I know people who don't even need to audition if they don't want to, you know. So it's a tricky situation. But I don't believe, if it's your dream, I don't believe in like giving up on it per se. But sometimes you have to kind of giving up. The word giving up is very like for me. I think it's more of like I have to do this in order to do that, you know.
Yeah. That's such a mature way of looking at things. Like I mean, I've obviously known you for a long time, but I'm struck by this conversation how like your outlook is so positive, and it's so inspiring to know a young person in the industry who thinks the way you think. It's really lovely.
Thank you, Becca. I think because I started out so young, I looked up to so many people. I mean, I remember you in part-time. I remember like Nadine Suleiman. I remember seeing people in part-time and like them doing the things. And I was like, when I get there, I need to do what they're doing. I need to do like, so I was always looking up. I was always doing this. And now suddenly I have to kind of look forward. And that's a completely different perspective. Yeah. So I think I just learned from the people before me, because that's where you do a lot of your learning.
Totally.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
So we have received some questions for you that we will cross over to. So I've got a question here that asks, we all know about dream roles, but do you have a nightmare role, a role you never want?
Oh my God. That's such a tricky question. Probably like
a show that is like an absolute no-no.
So I'm not a huge fan of golden age musicals.
Okay.
Not because of the I don't mind the shows themselves. I don't fit into the golden age, you know, vibe. So I would probably say something like My Fair Lady, you know. Again, if the show had to come tomorrow and I was auditioning, I would go. Like, you would never say no. I would kind of be like, okay, but also it's also important to always make do with what you do and understand that everything has a purpose. My Fair Lady has and had a purpose in the history of musical theatre, so you've got to appreciate it for what it is. But I'd much rather be in other shows than something like My Fair Lady. So that's an interesting question. I love that.
Definitely something to think about. Okay, so next question. Were you at all intimidated by the opportunities that opened up to you after you graduated?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think it was a case of like, going, I think I was excited to embark on it, but I was scared of the enormity of what these jobs were essentially in the beginning. Eventually you start to think, this is my job, this is what I do. But when you first come out of college, especially when you're auditioning, I was in my final year when I auditioned for producers. And, you know, I was terrified. I was terrified. I was just like, what if I've done all this and I've built myself up to this point and then I just strike out and no one likes me? Like it just goes like this in your brain. But I find for me, when I get into an audition room, I think there's this fight or flight thing that comes from within, and this monster takes over and I go blank and then I wake up and it's done. So I just pray that something good has happened in that
in between that time.
in between where the confident Nicolette has like popped over and kind of gone like, how's it? I'll take over from here. Yeah, of course it was intimidating, and I think in college we build ourselves up too. So we go like, oh, this person's going to be there, and this person. So we build ourselves up. Meanwhile, when you actually get there and you actually work with these big names, they're people, and they're people who do their job, and again, they're human. So it actually ends up going, but definitely, I mean, it was me.
I mean, I feel like you can be intimidated and still have a positive response. I mean, it could, you know, encourage you to work harder, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Next question, a list of your absolute favorite musicals. Give us top three.
Three. That's complete blank. Remember, no musical. Okay. I really enjoy Waitress. Love Waitress. I saw Waitress twice, once in the UK, once in America, and I loved it both times. I really enjoy Hades Town. Hades Town. That show is, I wish I could see it. I know a person who's actually seen it live. I'm very jealous.
Wow.
It is definitely a show that I would kill to be in and see. And I think the third one would probably be, you know what, I actually loved Spring Awakening. Hey, I'm gonna actually put Spring Awakening up there. It was an experience that I've never had with a show. It's such a different feel. It's such a different, like a completely different genre of musical theater, and I think I connected with it so much that I have to put it on there, like 100%.
That is my number one show in the whole world. Yeah, it is. It really, really is.
That's great.
And I think it's also so important when you're growing up. It's just, there's so many important issues that are tackled in that show. So that's definitely one of mine. Kimby, what's your top musical?
Yeah, I want to know.
It's also a good question, because suddenly you like, the only musical I can think of is The Sound of Music, I believe, which is not my favorite. I think like Chicago will always have a place in my heart, because it was the first musical that I ever went to, because my parents had just got divorced, and my dad was taking us on our first like outing as like divorced dad and his kids, and that was just like, do you know what I mean? It kind of like, it almost like was the beginning of an era. So that, but I love the rude ones like the Book of Mormon and Avenue Q. Like I just love them. And I'd love to be in something like the 25th annual. Like that would just be, I'd love something like that. So those are my top three.
And then of course it deserves an honorable mention. You do enjoy Grey Gardens. Well, you love playing the characters in Grey Gardens.
I do.
Okay. Last question from the peoples. How have you motivated yourself during the lockdown?
Sorry. So again, like what we discussed before, like having a routine is very important. Like setting out goals, especially as a performer, and you have to continue your craft. We have to keep singing. You have to keep flexible and like if you're a dancer, keep doing that. So I set out time to be able to go, this is when I'm going to steam and do my vocal exercises and practice my articulation and ABCD. I've got very bad articulation. So my singing teacher's watching this, she's like, yes. So I think it's that, setting a routine. Seeing people online. Now, there's a very fine line between this, because sometimes you can see a lot online because a lot of people are posting at the moment. But I'm inspired by so many of not only my friends, but of like people, like my friends who have made like these Instagram accounts and are posting like podcasts and workouts and like like one of my best friends, Hannah, has started like a wellness page, and I'm like living for every post she posts. And that kind of even if you're having a down day, it kind of, you know, brings you up. And then thirdly, probably like my family and the people that I love. And, you know, there's just sometimes that you need a message and be like, I'm having such a, you know, like I'm having a moment, and that person just, you know, goes, you know, do you need help? Do you need something? I'm here to chat. There's always, we need to kind of lean on each other at this time. We can't just pretend like we're all alone, because we're not. So I guess that keeps me motivated to continue on with real life.
Amazing. Good. Okay, I've got one last question. What is your go-to audition song?
Oh, good one.
Do I tell people?
I was also thinking that. I was like, should I make her answer this? Are people going to steal her answers? But actually, I don't care.
I've had that before, though. No, I'm okay. Let me just go through. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give not tips, but I will say that when it comes to the audition, it completely depends on the audition. For me, I do a lot of research, and I try to think outside the box. Sometimes you get to an audition and you just hear the weirdest choices. Like sometimes you're at a like, you know, at an audition, and you hear a song that's just kind of like, that doesn't match at all. Like, I'm like, am I, you know, so you start to, but I do like to, let me think of my favorite. I'll tell you about my favorite audition song.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Miss Pennywise, who was this like butch keeper of the toilets in Urinetown, you know. That's I mean, I just radiated energy. So I was struggling to figure out what I was doing, because kind of everyone was doing like Ursula from Ariel, and kind of doing all these. And actually, it was actually my singing teacher, Adele, who was like, listen, how about we do this? And I was like, this is hard, but I'm game. So I went in and I sang The Smell of Rebellion from Matilda.
Really nice.
But I did an octave up, so I didn't change the key. I just like sang my teta off, and like tried to be this really harsh, you know, and it worked. It was probably my favorite audition ever, because I was just like, I was having so much fun with it, and kind of not caring what I looked like or even sounded like. Sometimes like you actually need to not care what you sound like. What's behind the singing is what counts. So yeah, I would say that. But I will say that every audition is different. I can't pick. I don't think I've picked the same song for an audition yet. So I think when I do have one, I'll let you know.
We'll ask you in 20 years' time.
20 years.
Yes. Speaking of 20 years, okay, so now difficult question.
Ooh.
What in your brain, if you were a fortune teller, right, you're telling us the future, what do you think the industry looks like in a year and 2 years?
Oh, I love this. So a lot of people, especially a lot of like professionals, I've heard say, like, kind of going, this is the end, you know, theatre and performance, it's in the past, like the way we know it is in the past. I'm not in agreement with that at all. I'm kind of the agreement that, firstly, like, you know, we've had pandemics before. I'm going to be very careful, because I'm a very big conspiracy theorist. So I'm not going to share any of my conspiracies in terms of like Corona. But if we're looking at the future in terms of how it's going,
Yes,
I think the way we've kind of managed to make theatre work now is going to add on to the theatre we used to know. So we're going to have our theatres, but they are going to be, there is going to be this huge platform to be able to do virtual performance, which will add on top of already what we do. So that's exciting, because it allows for so much more opportunity and so much more work and hopefully we'll be able to figure out a way how to actually pay people substantially for this. So I think it's an add-on. I don't think it's a replacement situation. There's no way you can replace the feeling that you get in the theater watching, so-and-so or whoever, or like you can't replace that, and it's beautiful. It's just like it's like saying like we're never gonna hug again or like kiss again.
Yeah,
like
Kim doesn't do that in any case.
It's
what
not,
I mean?
hard that I'll never be able to kiss again.
It's so hard. But you know what I mean? Like human instinct, like human spirit. We can't replace that with, Zoom.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think it's definitely an add-on, and it's exciting. It's not sad and gloomy. I think it's something that is going to be innovative, and people are going to think. I mean, I think Emil also brought it up. Did anyone see Katy Perry's performance of her new song? Like that was all live, and there were all these things happening in the video, but it was all live, and I'm like, how did she do that? And like her Wi-Fi isn't cutting out. How? So like, once everyone kind of figures that all out, it's going to be an add-on to what we love and know. And who knows what we're going to be able to do with sets and lighting and sound, for actual shows. So yeah, I think it's an add-on. I think it's a good thing. I'm not a big thing on the whole. It's gone. It's in the past. It's like, no, we've been here. We ain't going anywhere,
Yeah, it's true. The one thing I was thinking about is about like if theatre had to go online, it's easier to walk out halfway through. Do you know what I mean? That's such a stupid thought, but I thought that the other day. I was watching something and I was like, I don't think I like this, and I could just exit. No one knew that that I was leaving. It wasn't like I was standing either. Sorry, excuse me, sneaking out the theatre.
Exactly, but on the other hand, what's also exciting about being virtual is something like let's take the producers for instance. The Theatre on the Bay is what, 250 people ish, okay? Some people go live and there are thousands of people watching. Thousands. So you've just taken a show or a person who would have played to like 100 people, and you've just gone and you've made it accessible for the entire world. I mean, that kind of blows your mind a little bit.
Yeah,
so I think the possibility of it is so cool. I just don't think we should limit ourselves. I mean, we should just kind of, but you are right in leaving halfway through. You can kind of
that's what I'm like.
It would have been so big.
Yes, that is what you.
I'm like, oh God, when can I leave this?
Yeah, terrible theatre partner. Everybody, don't go to the theatre with Kimberly Buckle. PSA.
With a vuvuzela, so you know that I'm leaving.
You are so embarrassing.
Imagine I actually did that. Like I actually had the confidence to stand up and be like, no, and then just walk out.
Get off the stage.
I paid for this ticket, but get off the stage. I chose to be here.
Maybe, I always think when I'm a granny, I can get away with anything I want and no one's even going to question it. I think, Kim, you should be that granny. You should be that person. Yeah.
Go for it, Kim. Accept it. Take it within your soul. Live it. Dream it. Be it.
I think it's a good idea. Very good idea.
I will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know we made these signs.
I know, and we haven't used it once.
No, guys.
We knew it. We're not used to props.
Yeah.
You go.
So the question was, two things actually that you mentioned in a thing you sent us was that you've always wanted to play Bobby as your dream role, Bobby from Company, which is really, really exciting. So hopefully that is something in the future for you. But also your one-woman show, and we've actually talked about this, you and I, before.
Yes, we have.
And isn't it a perfect time right now to do that?
So yeah. Look, you know, I've been lucky enough to be able to have people in my life who have had, I mean, Alan Committee has become a great friend of mine. And, you know, he does one-man shows in what he does. And he has a background of very, like, you know, strict drama, and he went to UCT and things like that. So he's somebody that I look up to. And one of the things that he did, he was like, literally just write everything down. Like, see something, think something, write it down. So I'm in that stage. And then when this whole thing hit, I was kind of like, okay, maybe it's time to actually consider like conceptualizing this whole thing. It's just a case of trying to zone in on an actual concept rather than going like, I can do all of this. You know, like I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, who I love RuPaul's Drag Race. And there was one particular queen who was also like a triple threat and stuff like that. And one of the things they told her was like, it's a lot. Like you can't just throw all of it at us. Like hashtag, you know? So I don't want to do that. I really want to be able to, I've been inspired by like Fleabag, you know, my Big Fat Greek Wedding was a one-woman show. Like I've Poralicious, like all those good things. And so it's in the works. I'm not going to say it's not happening, but it's definitely in the works. We are, and I say we because I need people. I can't do it on my own.
Well,
you know?
we will be backing you all the way. And when you are finally ready to reveal your one-woman show, we will be in the front row. Kimberly will not have her vuvuzela. I will make sure of it. We'll make sure that it's way before she becomes a granny. So it should be sometime soon.
Yeah, it should. I mean, TikTok.
But on that note, Nicolette, thank you so much for joining us. We really had such a lovely time with you, and we hope that, I mean, I'm feeling super inspired by our conversation. So I hope that those of you who have tuned in are feeling the same way. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I've had so much fun. And thank you everybody who's watching. Have a good rest of your year, 2020. Come on now. Come now.
Okay.